My wife started taking art classes every weekend. I discovered her art instructor was actually an old flame she reconnected with. When I confronted her, she said, "It's just innocent fun." It wasn't fun when she realized the life she destroyed was her own. I'm a 44-year-old guy living in Sacramento, California. My wife Clara and I have been together for 17 years, married for 15. We have 2 kids, our daughter is 12, and our son just turned 9. For the most part, we had what you'd call a normal, stable marriage. Not perfect, but we made it work. We had routines, shared responsibilities, but sometimes like anyone else, but nothing ever felt serious enough to tear us apart. Clara used to paint a lot before we had kids. She'd spend hours working on landscapes or portraits, usually in the spare bedroom we turned into her little studio. When we started a family, that hobby faded into the background. The studio became a toy storage room. Life got busy. You know how it goes. Around this time last year, she told me she wanted to get back into it. She said she needed something for herself again, something creative. I was fully supportive. Honestly, I thought it was a great idea. She signed up for weekend art classes at a local place called the Canvas Collective downtown. It sounded legit. She said they had live model sessions, still life practice, even oil painting lessons. Classes were Saturday afternoons, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. The first couple of weekends were totally normal. She'd come home with paint on her hands, sometimes clothes, showing me what she made. Her mood was better. She smiled more. She said it was helping her feel like herself again. I didn't ask many questions because I was just happy she found something that made her happy. Then things started to shift a little. She got weird about her phone. She used to leave it on the kitchen counter when she was home, but now it was always on her, face down. She started putting a password on it. I asked about it once, casually, and she said she had to for work, something about security policies. She works in admin at a small insurance office. I didn't really question it at the time. One night she was texting a lot while we were watching TV. She smiled at the screen, laughed once, then quickly locked it. I asked, "Who's that?" She said it was a group chat with the art class people, talking about a new model they had. I remember thinking it was strange she never mentioned any friends from the class before, but again, I let it go. Over time, her attitude toward me started changing. Little things. She didn't want to cuddle on the couch anymore. She started wearing nicer clothes and makeup on Saturdays, even perfume. She said she just wanted to feel good about herself again. I had no reason not to believe her, but I started feeling off. Then came the moment everything started unraveling. She told me one night that she was going to a weekend art retreat. Something organized by the studio, up in Napa. It was 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. She'd leave Friday night and be back late Sunday. She said it was for serious students and that she'd already paid. It caught me off guard. I didn't like the idea of her being gone all weekend, especially without discussing it first, but she said it was important to her. So she went, and I stayed home with the kids. Saturday night, I was doing laundry when I noticed she left her iPad in the laundry basket. She hardly used it anymore, but it was still logged into her messages. I wasn't snooping at first. I was going to move it, but a message popped up from a contact named M. The message said, "Can't stop thinking about last night. You looked beautiful in the moonlight." I asked her how the retreat was. She said it was incredible. She smiled, started showing me pictures she took, landscapes, a still life setup, some paintings. Then I said, "So, how's Mark?" She froze. She didn't answer right away. Just stared at me. I pulled out the iPad and showed her the messages. She sat down, pale. Her voice got small. "It wasn't supposed to happen," she said. "We just reconnected. We were friends at first." I asked her how long it had been going on. She said a few months. I said, "Since the classes started?" She nodded. Then came the phrase I'll never forget. It was just innocent fun. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Innocent fun. I walked out of the room. I didn't sleep that night. She came into the guest room crying, trying to talk. I told her I wasn't ready. She tried to justify it. Said she felt like a part of her had died when she became a mom and wife. That Mark made her feel seen. That he inspired her to create again. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just listened. And then I told her I needed space. She moved in with her sister for a while. Then, not long after, she moved in with Mark. Our kids were devastated. My daughter asked me one night, "Did Mom stop loving us too?" That broke me in a way nothing else had. Clara tried to act like we could stay friends for the kids. She texted me sometimes like everything was normal. Invited me to one of her art shows. I didn't go. About 3 months after she moved in with Mark, she texted me at 2 a.m., "Can I talk to you?" I ignored it. Then came a knock at my door the next day. She looked like hell. Puffy eyes, makeup smudged, wearing a hoodie and sweats. Mark had left her. For someone younger. A new student at the studio. She said, "I made a huge mistake." I didn't say anything. I couldn't. That's where things are right now. She wants to come home. But this isn't a home she recognizes anymore. And I'm not the same man she left behind. I didn't let Clara back in the house. That day she showed up, begging, crying on the front steps. I told her she couldn't stay here. Not now. Maybe not ever. She tried everything. Said she'd go to therapy. Said we could do marriage counseling. Said she'd cut off all contact with Mark, even though he already dumped her. She swore up and down she'd change. But all I saw was someone who only wanted to come back because her little fantasy crashed and burned. I told her straight, "You didn't come back because you love me. You came back because he didn't want you either." She didn't deny it. She just cried harder. After that, she started calling every day, texting me, emailing. She'd show up at the kids' school and try to talk to them during pickup. I had to talk to the principal to stop that from happening again. She was spiraling, and I had no clue what to do anymore. But here's where it gets worse. A few weeks go by. Things started settling. Clara was staying at her mom's place in Elk Grove. I was managing with the kids, doing solo parenting the best I could. Then, one morning, I got a knock at my door. It was a man in his late 50s. Wore a suit, neat haircut, looked serious. He introduced himself as Anthony Cole, a private investigator. At first, I thought he had the wrong house. But no, he said he was looking into Mark. The same Mark who ran those art classes. Clara's old flame. He asked if I knew anything about Mark's past relationships, or if he'd ever behaved in a way that made me feel suspicious. I didn't know what to say. Clara didn't know any of this. As far as she knew, Mark just dumped her for someone younger. But the truth was much darker. I didn't want to be the one to tell her, but I had to. I called her and asked to meet in a public place. We sat in the park by the river where we used to take the kids. She looked tired, pale, like the weight of her choices was finally catching up to her. I told her about the PI, about Mark, about the girl. She stared at me like I'd hit her. Then she whispered, "He told me." I was different. I didn't say anything. She kept staring at the river, and then she said, "He told all of us that, didn't he?" And then, without looking at me, she said, "I think I love the idea of him more than the man himself." I was chasing something I thought I missed out on. But he wasn't real, and I lost everything for it. That hit me hard. Because even though I still resented her, I could see that she wasn't pretending anymore. She was broken, and maybe for the first time, truly aware of what she'd done. But things weren't done unraveling. The following week, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address. It was from Mark's ex-wife. I didn't even know he'd been married. She wrote 2 pages about who he used to be, about the mental games he played, how he used his charm, his artist soul, to reel women in and mess them up. She warned me to be careful, because Clara might have been a victim too, even if she didn't see it yet. And then she added something that chilled me: he doesn't let go easily. Be careful, especially with your kids. I reread that line 10 times. I called the PI and asked if Mark had ever gotten violent. He said not that they could prove, but he was known to show up uninvited, call nonstop, gaslight, threaten self-harm to manipulate women into staying. Now I'm paranoid. Every time the doorbell rings, I look through the blinds before answering. Every time I see an unfamiliar car parked on the street, I make a mental note. Clara called again last night. She said she's scared. Said she thinks he followed her from work once. That he left a note on her windshield. Something like, "We're not done yet." Now she wants me to help her get a restraining order. Part of me still wants to protect her. She's the mother of my kids. But another part of me is angry, furious, even, that it had to come to this. That she burned down our family chasing a dream, and all she got was a nightmare. This thing isn't over. And I don't know what the next move is. All right, here's where things really take a turn. If you've been following the story so far, you know my wife Clara cheated on me with her old college flame, Mark, under the cover of art classes. She moved in with him. He dumped her. Then I found out he had a disturbing history with women. A private investigator got involved. His ex-wife warned me that Mark doesn't let go easily. I'm paranoid about locking up. Always double check. I even had the kids trained to do the same. I walked in slow, called out, nothing. No one was inside. Nothing looked missing. But one thing was out of place. On my kitchen counter, someone had placed one of Clara's old paintbrushes. Not mine. Not the kids'. One of hers. The same kind she used to use in her studio days. It was clean. Brand new. No note. Just the brush, lying flat on the counter. That night, I installed cameras. I didn't tell Clara right away. I didn't want to scare her even more than she already was. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Mark had been in my house. The next morning, I checked the camera footage. At 2:14 a.m., someone walked up my driveway. Tall. Hood up. Couldn't see a face clearly. They came up the porch, fiddled with the door handle, then crouched by the flower pot we keep on the side, where Clara used to hide a spare key. The key we hadn't used in years. They got in, stayed for about 5 minutes, then left. Never went further than the kitchen. I called the PI. He told me to file a police report. I did. They said they'd look into it, but unless I could ID the person, it'd be hard to prove anything. I sent them the footage anyway. Then I told Clara. She didn't seem surprised. She said, he told me once he liked knowing he could get to people without them noticing. I asked her if she ever gave him that old key. She didn't answer. I was furious. My kids sleep in this house. I told her if I ever found out she gave him access, even accidentally, I'd cut off all contact. Co-parenting or not. She swore she didn't. Now here's where the story throws another curveball. 3 days ago, I got a call from a blocked number. I don't usually answer those, but for whatever reason, I picked up. It was Mark. His voice was calm. Too calm. He said, "You think you know the full story. You don't." I didn't say anything. He went on, "Clara didn't just reconnect with me because she missed painting. She came to me first. She looked me up. She was the one who reached out." Then he hung up. I sat there, phone still to my ear, heart pounding. I texted Clara immediately and asked if it was true. She took a while to reply. Then sent. I didn't know it would go that far. That was her only answer. Let me break that down. This whole time, she let me believe she ran into Mark at the art class. But now I'm finding out she found him. Reached out. Signed up for his class on purpose. She didn't stumble into an affair. She planned the whole damn thing. That changed everything for me. It wasn't weakness. It wasn't a one-time mistake. It was premeditated betrayal. I stopped responding to her messages after that. But the weirdness hasn't stopped. Yesterday, one of the cameras picked up something else. A car. Black Toyota Camry, parked across the street around midnight. Sat there for an hour, then drove off. I checked the footage again today. Same car, came back last night. No one got out. Just watched the house. I gave the plate number to the police. They said it wasn't reported stolen, but it's registered out of Oakland. No names yet. I don't know what's going on anymore. Mark is spiraling. Clara's not telling me the whole truth. And someone keeps coming around my house in the middle of the night. The PI is still digging. Said there might be more women. Said there might be financial scams too. Mark convincing some of them to invest in his studio, then ghosting them after pocketing thousands. I'm starting to wonder if Clara got caught up in more than just an affair. I looked at our joint bank statements from last year. Found a few transfers to a Redding Creative Group. About $8,000 total. She never told me about it. I called the bank. It was a business account tied to Mark. She gave him money. This wasn't just innocent fun. This was obsession. Or worse, manipulation. And now, I have no idea how far this goes. I don't know what Mark wants. I don't know what Clara's hiding. But it feels like something is still coming, and I don't think it's over yet. It happened at our daughter's school fundraiser. My stomach dropped. I turned to Clara. "Is that Mark's car?" Her eyes went wide. I walked straight toward it. I didn't care anymore. I didn't care if I looked crazy. I was done with the games, the lies, the waiting for the next shoe to drop. Mark was sitting in the driver's seat. Window rolled down. Arm hanging out. Watching us. I walked right up and said, "What the hell are you doing here?" He gave me this smug little smile and said, "Just making sure Clara's okay." I lost it. "Stay away from my family," I said. "You're not welcome here." Clara came running over. "Mark, leave. Now. You're not supposed to be here." He looked past me, at her, and said, "You said you needed me." Right there. In front of me. In front of our daughter, who had wandered over behind Clara. My daughter saw everything. Heard it all. She turned to her mom and said, "You're still talking to him?" Clara froze. Her mouth opened, then closed again. No words. My daughter burst into tears. I turned to Clara and said, loud enough for anyone nearby to hear, "You told me it was over. You begged to come back. And you're still talking to him." People were watching. Teachers. Parents. Some of them knew us. Some didn't. Clara tried to defend herself. "I didn't know he'd come. I swear I told him not to, but it didn't matter. The damage was done." Mark finally drove off when one of the teachers came over and asked what was going on. I said nothing, just shook my head and took the kids to the car. That night, Clara showed up at my house, alone. No makeup. No yelling. Just knocked once, holding a folder. I let her in, mostly because I needed answers. She sat at the kitchen table and handed me the folder. Inside were printed emails, transaction records, and letters she had written but never sent. She confessed everything. She said she had looked up Mark on purpose, that she had found the studio, signed up knowing he was the instructor, said she didn't plan to cheat, but that she was chasing some old version of herself, the girl who used to be fearless, artistic, free. Mark represented that. And then she said, but he knew how to use that. He knew exactly what to say. She admitted to giving him money, more than I knew about, almost $15,000 in total. He told her he was opening a new space, needed investors. Promised her she'd have her own exhibit. And then, after she moved in with him, he made her feel worthless. Criticized her art. Compared her to younger women. Controlled everything from what she wore to who she spoke to. Said he'd fix her. She cried through the whole thing. But then came the part that hit me like a truck. She said, "I didn't just betray you. I betrayed myself. I let someone else tear me down to feel like I mattered again. I was so stupid." She apologized. For the affair. For the lies. For endangering the kids. For asking to come back when she hadn't even cut ties with him. But then she said something I didn't expect. "I'm going to turn him in." She had the emails. The texts. Screenshots of conversations with other women she found on his old tablet when he wasn't home. She was ready to give it all to the PI and, if needed, the police. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, she did go through with it. Mark is being investigated now. Not just for the financial stuff, but for emotional abuse and possible coercion involving at least 2 other women. The PI said the evidence Clara gave him blew the case wide open. As for us? No, we're not getting back together. I can't trust her. Not after all this. And honestly, I don't think she trusts herself right now either. We're co-parenting. Carefully. The kids are in therapy. Claire's going too. Sometimes we talk. Civilly. Not about love or fixing things. Just about the kids. About routines. School pickups. Doctor appointments. But there are moments, quiet ones, where I see how much this broke her. Not just what she lost with me and the kids, but what she lost in herself. And I can't bring myself to hate her anymore. I'm still angry. Still healing. But I'm not drowning in it now. What hurts most is that she had everything. A family, a home, love, and she traded it for a ghost from her past. A ghost who turned out to be poison. But maybe, in some twisted way, that's what it took for her to see the truth. As for me, I'm not looking for anyone new. Not yet. Maybe not for a long time. I've learned that betrayal doesn't always come from hate. Sometimes it comes from fear, from emptiness, from people who don't know who they are anymore. It still destroyed what we had, but it didn't destroy me. Not completely. And that's something. If you ever feel like your partner's slipping away, don't assume it's harmless. Ask. Listen. Pay attention. And if you're the one slipping, tell the truth before you shatter everything good in your life trying to chase something that never really existed.